Okay, let's take a look at some figures. Starting off with Emperor Doom. I freely admit, when I grabbed this, we had just started with the One World Under Doom storyline. It started out phenomenal. I was like, oh, now I want this figure. Okay. Anyway, what we get is a very disappointing Doom. This Doom is the same body we've used a billion times. I know at least 5 times. Got Emperor Doom, regular Doom, Retro Doom, and that last Doom, I think. So this is the 5th use. I mean, we get these again. There's a little bit of, the color changes a little bit within the swirly spell stuff, but it's nothing new. And he's got some fists. I think the most disappointing thing to me, though, it might be the actual cape. I could be wrong, but I think that's the cape from the animated one. But I'm not positive. It looks like it. I didn't have that figure, so I already have Doctor Strange, so I didn't feel the need to grab another one. I know it's not the one from the Walmart exclusive Doctor Strange. So, yeah, this is a bit disappointing because I thought they would at least take this opportunity to work this up and, take out some pins and make them a little better, and I was surprised that they did not. It was really hard to tell from the pictures because of the armor. We're still stuck with pins and the same old. It's like, it's a totally frustrating situation. But Doom is still my favorite villain, so, it's hard to resist, but at the same time, I think this could have been so much better. Just so much better. And, yeah, we've gotten quite a few Doctor Dooms, and, I don't know. Doom's almost like Vader to me. It's like, I'm a bit of a mark for Doom. I freely admit it. At the same time, I thought this should have been, could have been, and would have been so much better than what it turned out. It is what it is, I guess is all I can say. But still, that paint job, it'll probably never be done. I think it's one of the first Dooms that doesn't have a gun holster, which has always bothered me because I've never seen Doom use a gun. He probably has in some issue, but I never saw it. Anyway, the more important one is we have the Phoenix, Rachel, daughter of Jean and Scott from another dimension, from an alternate reality. These are freaking phenomenal. These wing effects are perfect. The spikes in her outfit are perfect. Even though it's the same head repainted, it does make sense to do that because, let me show you the face. That is her Bloodhound face. So it fits very well. She has open hands and fists, but either one will work. I'm really impressed with this figure. This shows you that, we can get decent figures when they apply themselves. For the rest of this wave, I mean, the price point keeps me away. I caved on Pharaoh, and that's it. That Daredevil, I'm not even going to try to bother with, because it's Silver Surfer, they needed to do more to that figure. I'll wait for the next improvement on it if they do one. I mean, it might be another 5 years, who knows. They may never do one. And, the rest I'm just kind of like, yeah, so what? I mean, it's just a bunch of people I don't really care about. This is kind of the state of figures that we are in right now. It's like, ugh. Looking at what's coming down the pike, it doesn't look to improve much. That's not to say it won't, I'm just saying it doesn't look that way. Now, most people got Rachel here because they wanted to complete Excalibur. I actually had her on a team of my making, which is It's kind of weird. I never actually gave it a name. I need to think that up before I do the video on it. But she was part of that team, so I needed to have her, and there she is. So that's pretty interesting. And I'll go over it a little more as we get closer, but people tend to forget that Rachel was actually part of the X-Men for a brief time. And, you know, shortly before the famous Jim Lee run, you know, back when the book was good. Now, since it took us 25 years to get Rachel, I doubt we'll get that version of her, because most people don't even remember her being in the X-Men. I don't know. It's weird sometimes, but yeah, people select to forget when this is kind of funny. Anyway, just glad to have her. These things do make her a little top heavy, so she's hard to stand with when she's got them. If you notice, I've got her kind of leaning on them, which I don't want to do too much because I'm afraid of them bending. You know, this is Hasbro after all. But really like this one. Really disappointed in this one. Got a couple more to look at, so let's go. Okay, wasn't going to buy him. Then I said, well, he was going to serve a purpose in my collection. He was actually kind of on sale, 20 bucks. So I said, okay, I'm going to buy him. And I'll explain to you why in just a minute. Okie dokie. Alright, here he is out of the box. He's got this open hand, this grippy hand, and 2 flame fists. And I even had to go and double check and make sure he didn't have some kind of augmentation. But his whole deal is augmenting powers. He can increase or decrease, dampen, and bring down other mutants' powers. So why the fuck does he have flame fists? I'm all for more accessories, but not when they don't match. Apparently the new thing he's developed is he can heal people too. Okay, yeah. So anyway, my thought on this guy was, I've got a team. You know how the X-Men are always like getting bad guys to reform and stuff? Basically, that's the basis of this team. It's all the bad guys who want to reform, and Fabian becomes one of them. And this is going to be in my team's thing, and he's going to fail. He's going to fail miserably. So I'm telling you now, because I'm never going to write it, so it's not a spoiler. He just gets too power hungry and goes back to doing the things he does. As always, and that's all it is. He's one of the first to fail. There were going to be at least 3 failures and 3 successes in that mutant program that I had going on. So I will talk about that more in my team's videos when I get to them, which should be soon. I've got most of the Avengers one plotted out, scripted out. But yeah. Anyway, there's Fabian Cortez. That's all. It was just yeah. I need to. I forgot I had put him on the team. I looked back at some old notes and I went, oh yeah, Fabian Cortez was on the team for a little bit. So I just thought, well, you know, I'll just add him. And I was not a big fan of the Acolytes. I was not a big fan of the Asteroid M storyline. But I thought I'd try to do something interesting with Cortez in what I wanted to be my writings of Marvel. So that's why I included him in that team. And it would have been something interesting just for a little bit. But anyway, it doesn't matter. He'll be. I never got to write for Marvel, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's your typical Marvel legend. There's not really much to talk about. I don't think, yeah, there's no, I don't think his, no, he's not gummy. He's, I usually test the limbs beforehand, but He's not gummy, so that's not a problem. Usually I'm just expecting gummy joints from Legends anymore, just because Hasbro doesn't give a shit. And then when I don't have them, it's like, oh, okay, cool. You know. Hasbro, you've really fallen off the wagon. At least they're giving us some interesting choices, so I'll give you that. I mean, Cortez, again, you know, I didn't like that storyline, but I did think I could do something with that character. So I felt like he had some potential, and he just never went there because, I don't know, people just didn't give him a chance. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the writing fell off that much in Marvel. I mean, I know it has now, but was it back then? I know I got disinterested in the X-Men shortly after that, and I've been there since Dark Phoenix. So I mean, that was a big one for me to step away from X-Men. I mean, I liked X-Men so much, I would buy classic X-Men even though I had the comics that they were based on, because I just enjoyed the fuck out of it. Okay, so I'm sure my Mafex Magneto is not going to like seeing Cortez in this set, but oh well, he's here. Hey, party people. What happening, Captains? Anyway, today we've got 3 retro card style, however you want to say it, retro Spider-Man figures. So, one of the more important ones is the character I never thought I'd see made, Cardiac. But included in this is another character I never thought I'd see made, the Owl. I'm not quite understanding why the Owl is given this kind of more modernistic card back. I mean, he looks the same in his classic form and his current form. I don't care. But anyway, here are the figures. So let's get started with the Owl. Now, this trench coat has been used, I think. He's actually got 2 trench coats on. Of course, he has single joints. Boo. Boo. Single joints. Fuck single joints, man. But I was really surprised this one got made, because it's one of those characters that's like so nothing burger. But anyway, he's got 2 of these gnawing hands, which I think came with the Mandarin and a couple other guys. I don't think they match the Owl very well. And he has an owl. Woo! And so, here's the Owl with his talons. I heard a lot of Wolverine jokes with that. They're not unfounded, man. But I am also pretty sure that the Owl does predate Wolverine. I first remember the Owl, I had a Marvel team-up book. I believe it was Daredevil and Spider-Man. And, you know, he was just one of those characters that, you know, he wasn't anything special, but, you know, when you saw him, it was kind of fun read, and, you know, enough that, you know, the few times I did see the Owl pictured on a comic, I would pick it up. But he's not anything spectacular or anything like that. It's a me thing. So, I'm kind of glad I got an Owl now in my collection. And see, he knocked over Cardiac. That's how badass he is. I'm still got a slight bit of the sniffles, getting a cold, so that is not fun. Anyway, but glad to have the Owl. Then Spidey 2099. I had the previous release. Probably gonna just keep this one for the Spider-Man shelf. It's better coloring. Or Spider-Man area. I don't know how I'm handling that. Definitely better coloring. He's got the toe joints for those who care. I'm kind of indifferent. He comes with fists, of course. And then wall crawling hands, which is kind of weird because if you know anything about Miguel O'Hara, he had little hooks on his fingertips. So he didn't wall crawl like Spider-Man did. You know, he could and he was not afraid to use those to hurt somebody either. It was kind of interesting. The cape does come off rather easily, I might add, and is a bit of a bitch to put back on. But yeah, I think the previous Spider-Man 2099 is going to stay in my Exiles, and then that one's going to go with the proper Spider-Mans. What can you say about Spidey 29? It was a fun book. There's also apparently going to be a Doom and a Hulk 2099. So if they do that, I'll get those, and maybe I'll have a little section off to 2099. I have to be honest, there's not a lot I would want out of 2099 though. Hulk, Doom, Punisher, and that'd be about it. So here's the big one. Cardiac. Now, Cardiac has been caught up in some kind of real weird legal battle for God knows how long. And they finally released him. I don't know what happened. I really don't. I know Eric Larson was involved, and that's all I know. But he's a pretty good looking figure overall, except for a few things. Nothing in the abs for articulation. There should have been a boot articulation. They messed up on a few things they could have hammered home easily. So I'm not pleased with that. I'm very pleased with the way they painted him. I will say that. This is a little flimsy, as you can tell by the way he's holding it. Okay, he's got a fist and an open hand. And he's got this effect that goes around the staff. I thought he had two of these. I thought I saw him pictured with two, but maybe it was me. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about this thing, because it looks weird. I had to actually really search for a reference pic for any blast that looked like that. So it's, yeah. I mean, if they were going to do anything, they should have done the beam that comes out and goes like the heart monitor. And I always thought that was cool. Still, it's a surprise figure that I was not expecting. And I'm really amazed, I gotta say, I'm really amazed that Marvel Legends is pulling off some of the things they are. They got me hooked with Abomination. They got me hooked with Ghost Rider. So, and they've got me hooked with Cardiac. It's like, damn it, I thought I was out of this game. They pulled me back in. I mean, this is one I never expected. Cardiac, nor the Owl. I mean, the Owl I didn't expect. I almost did not buy the Spider-Man. But then I just decided the better colors wins me over. I was going to put him in my Exiles, but then after I got him, I was like, nah, put him with the other Spider-Man figures. That's probably how I'll handle it. In discussing that, if they go on clearance, I'll get Hypno Hustler and Nightcrawler, Spidey. But you cannot pay me any amount of money to get that Venom Spidey. I'm sorry. Spider Venom, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I just don't give a shit. What can I say? I don't give a shit, you know? So like most retro waves, it's like, yeah, there's a few here that I like, and a few here I'm like going, huh? And I'll just grab some and whatever. But compared to the previous retro wave, I'm liking these much more than. Jeez, how did I get it? I'm trying to remember what all was in the last retro wave, and I can't remember. I know these price tags. I'm like, ugh. There's still a few characters I need to get. Want to get. I really kind of need to sit down and do a list of my like top 10 wants that I would cross a paywall for, because you know it's getting shorter and shorter. I mean, and I've crossed the ultimate paywall with Executioner, so with that in mind, it's like these guys seem small potatoes in comparison. I mean, I really dig them. I don't think any of them are going immediately on any shelves, though. So there's that. But it does seem like to me, every retro Spider-Man line, they try to do 3 Spider-Mans and 3 of everybody else. And I'm usually ignoring most of the time. I'm ignoring the 3 Spider-Mans. This is obviously an exception. I did get the Spider-Man Unlimited for like 20, I think. Just because there was no rhyme or reason. I was thinking of putting him in my Exile instead. I thought that might be a funny change from $20.99. But we'll see about that. I can't really think of much to say. I mean, I don't know. Cardiac was just one of those guys that's like, you know, now I think about it, I don't really remember much about him. I remember him being a heart surgeon. I remember his weapon was supposed to help people with heart problems. But past that, I really don't remember much of him. Seemed like he was sort of a Punisher vigilante type, as my recollection is. I need to go back and reread, because I recall liking Cardiac a great deal. But I know he disappeared from the comics too, so he's not been around. So maybe that's it. I mean, I can still remember $20.99 fairly well. Of course, I just finished up my year-long Marvel Digital sub, and I did catch some of the old Spidey 2099s and reread them. So that could be helpful. Owl, I mean, I just have some distinct memories with Owl and that Marvel team up. So, you know. So I think that was my first Marvel team up too. It was Daredevil, Spider-Man against the Owl. It might have even been a guest appearance in Daredevil with Spider-Man. You know, I can't remember exactly. It's been a long time ago. It was before Star Wars came out, okay? I mean, that long ago. So anyway, that's having fun with the toys. I mean, just getting them, figuring out what you're going to do next. I think all of them are going to go into the storage for now. Not because I don't like them, but because, you know, I don't really have a place for any of these guys. My supervillains is overflowing, and especially with, I'm trying to figure out what to do with Executioner at this point. And I have no idea where to put him. $20.99. And Cardiac is, you know, he's kind of a, you know, like I said, I feel like he's a Punisher type. So yeah, where would he go? Never one of my favorites, but I liked him. And the chance to get a figure of him, yeah, I'm going to grab it. If they do another one, I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, they would have to drastically improve him. And I don't think they will. Alright, that'll wrap up this one. Just wanted to show you what I got and why I got it. And you guys take care and have a good day.